Struggle is now being labeled as a
Mm.
crisis. We've also blurred the lines between real hardship and normal life challenges. And instead of navigating stress, we call everything overwhelming. Instead of working through difficulties, we assume that we're just burnt out. We protect feelings over growth. And instead of asking, what is this teaching me? We ask, how do I make this stop?
I don't know who this sister is, but she is spot on here. Let me know what your thoughts are.
I'm not exactly sure how it's happened, but I'll give you my take on it, right? We've never talked about mental health more before, yet somehow we've become weaker
Mm.
because instead of building emotional strength, we've built a culture that rewards emotional fragility. We've made it normal to break down over minor inconveniences. We've convinced people that if something makes them uncomfortable, it must be harmful.
Let me know if you've experienced any of this. Comment down below.
We've created a world where feelings aren't just acknowledged, they're treated like the absolute truth. And we know that feelings are not facts. And
Mm.
here's what that looks like in real life. Discomfort is mistaken for danger. If a conversation makes you uneasy, it must be toxic. If a person challenges you, they must be unsafe. If a situation feels hard, it must be harming you. Boundaries are also being used as walls. Instead of learning how to have difficult conversations, we shut people out completely. Instead of addressing issues, we disappear and call it self-preservation, or I'm protecting my peace or my mental health.
Self-preservation, self-care. We have built a society, and stick around because she's not done. We've built a society of literal snowflakes. Now, I think that term obviously comes from the fact that when snowflakes come down, they don't last long. They can't take the heat, so to speak. They disintegrate in seconds, no true amount of pressure on them. But our society has become so mentally weak and fragile that everything offends. Everything. I think it is largely based on or from that bullying, anti-bullying culture or movement that was really prevalent some years ago, where some people were mistreated and abused and made fun of, which isn't a good thing. But I think the response to that was so far to the extreme that now you had people. There was a movement not that many years ago, just a handful, a couple of years ago, that said silence was violence in certain movements when it came down to the whole racial justice thing. If you didn't speak out on it, you're being violent. Or for a person like me, a Christian person like me, sharing my faith might be offensive to somebody. Oh, there were places where my speech would have been stifled, would have been canceled. And in the real world, what does that give people? What do you gain from living in a society that is afraid to tell you anything that might offend you? You don't gain anyone who's prepared to deal with the real world. When your bills need to be paid, when you're facing eviction, when your dog dies or a family member dies, how prepared are you for situations like that? If you if you come face to face with actual physical, mental, or emotional abuse, I'm talking deep levels, I'm talking true abuse. When you face that, if you can't face the fact of someone challenging your worldview or proclaiming a truth to you that you are offended or bothered by, how does that prepare you for any of life's difficulties? It does not. It does more harm than good. So hopefully videos like this and conversations like this will resonate with some people so that they move away from this foolishness.
Struggle is now being labeled as a
Mm.
crisis. We've also blurred the lines between real hardship and normal life challenges. And instead of navigating stress, we call everything overwhelming. Instead of working through difficulties, we assume that we're just burnt out. We protect feelings over growth. And instead of asking, what is this teaching me? We ask, how do I make this stop? Instead of allowing emotions to come and go, we obsess over them like they define us. We've created a mindset where people believe that emotions should be protected instead of processed.
And just think about it for a second. How many times in your life, because I know there have been plenty in mine, when your emotions led you to do something foolish? I can't even count how many times. As a young man, making babies at an early age, wasn't prepared mentally. I felt the best thing for me to do is get a divorce and move out because I wanted my freedom. Hindsight, now that I'm in my 50s, that was one of the worst life decisions I could have ever made. But if you had asked me at that time, I felt completely justified, but I was young and naive and foolish. We have people nowadays who are literally saying that a child is mature enough to be able to make a life decision as to what their gender is or whether to go on hormone blockers or something along those lines. And I think all of these are interrelated. I don't think there's any way we could separate the ideologies.
Life isn't going to tiptoe around you. The world isn't going to adjust itself to your emotional needs.
I love what she had to say. I think she 100% nailed it. This fragile culture we're developing, there's probably some Marxist or even communist or socialist ties to it. But I honestly believe it is linked to those who are on the outside and even those who are within who literally hate the United States. And this is a way of subterfuge, a way to destroy our country from its very foundations. You damage the family, you destroy our spiritual foundations. You get us to the point to where morality is some vague nebulous thing out there and there's really no ultimate truth. Then you open the door to anything. And again, this is just some of the fruit of that. But I'd love to know your thoughts. Comment down below. And before you go, check out this video right here. It's along the same lines, and I think you'll find it very helpful.